Hello, 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 and welcome on down to the Foxhole. I'm excited to have you guys all back, and today we're going to discuss on reasons why I stopped drinking. And last episode, I didn't really touch on. I brought it up a little bit, but I really didn't touch on like my drinking here in Las Vegas. But that's something I'm definitely going to get into in future episodes on the podcast. So that's something that's pending and is definitely coming. And also, I want to say, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to get anyone to stop drinking by any means. Like, we are all on our own journey in life, and my current journey in life is, sobriety. And I mainly just want to inform you guys about why I stopped drinking and basically my experience and my sobriety journey, because there's just been so many people that have messaged me on social media that are very curious about the sober lifestyle. So this is the way to kind of just let you guys know about my own personal journey. And before I get to like why I stopped drinking, this has a lot to do with it. And 2023 was the hardest year of my life by far. I went through so much that year. And in May 2023, my dad had passed away. So that was just a very tragic moment in my life. Just somebody that just loves you unconditionally, no matter what, is now gone. Like, you'll never see or speak to them again. That was just a really hard reality to hit. So I went through a lot, after my dad had passed. And then 2 months later, in July of 2023, my dog King had passed away. He was 15. He started out as a family dog, but I had full ownership of him for I want to say 12 of his 15 years. So King was like a son to me. Like, I saw him like every single day. I took care of him. He was my son. So that was another just blow to the head that just really took it out of me. And like, that was back to back. Like, I'm still trying to cope with losing my dad, and then now my dog passes away. So that just really hit me hard as well. And then a few months later, later in the year, I believe it was October of 2023, ties were cut with somebody that I had loved, and that just hit another toll on me too. So I had three major traumatic, life altering events that had happened to me, that led to, depression. I was in a depression for a very long time, probably for about a year and a half to 2 years. And I'll talk about that too here, in the next few episodes in this podcast as well. But I just wanted to touch base with that because that has a lot to do with what I'm going to be talking about in the next few episodes for sure. And also I want to say, this is kind of switching subjects just a little bit, but I'm an athlete and I have a very like athlete mind. I also was a soccer coach for 8 or 9 years. So I had that mindset to basically to like get better, be the best person I can be, no matter what I'm doing. It's like, I want to get better at all aspects of life. I want to get better, at work. I want to get better, with my friendships. I want to get better. When I was growing up playing soccer, we trained all the time to get better. And now I've started this new journey of playing tennis. Like, I'm out on the tennis courts 3-4 times a week trying to get better because I want to, keep on getting better, keep, playing these tournaments, get into some leagues. And I just wanted to be the best. And I feel like my life really had come to like a halt. And like, I felt like I wasn't getting better in life. I feel like I wasn't moving forward. I feel like I wasn't growing as a person. And I feel like I just had become like complacent in a sense. And that's like a very dangerous, space to be, especially when you think about it from like, an athletic point of view. Is very, you never want to be complacent. And I feel like I was very complacent in life. I feel like my life was going downhill, and I felt like I was going a path, going down a path of destruction, basically. And I just wasn't happy with myself any longer. I feel like I was becoming somebody that I wasn't. I feel like I was becoming somebody that I've never seen before. And I wanted to get, the old Bruce back. So I had to really sit back and do a lot of, self therapy and ask, like, why is my life like this? And I was going through, a bunch of things, which I'm about to get into in a second. But I was Googling a ton of things that were going on in my life. And while I was having these issues with my body and my mind, and every like, symptom or whatever, like I looked up, there was always like, a little long list. And alcohol was, never number one, but it was always in those lists. And my dumb ass was just acted like alcohol was not in the list. I'm like, what's going on in my life, alcohol is definitely not a factor, like by any means. And so I would skip past it. And knowing what I know now, like, alcohol is a toxin, it's poisonous. And I've watched so many YouTube videos about what alcohol does to your body, your mind, and everything, and just how it just like is a negative, how it negatively like impacts your life. And once I start watching these YouTube videos and, from scientists, I'm just like, why am I putting all this poison in my body? And, I want to, we only live one time, and I want to live as long as possible, get the most out of life. So I'm like, this is one way that I'm definitely going to, do that is, quit alcohol. But yeah, so I just want to mention that before I go into, all the reasons why. So there are 6 reasons why. I'm going to touch on 3 of them in this episode. So the first one is hangovers. And oh my gosh. So when I started drinking, I never had hangovers. Like I would never get them. Like I was always that guy that went out, and all my friends from Cincinnati can attest to this 110%. But I was that guy that went to the bars and then went to after parties. I was out like in between like 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. like every single weekend. And I would wake up, not even joking, because I could like never, like I was not a sleeper. Like I would 3 to 4 hours of sleep is good for me. Like I would be up at 7, 8 o'clock, doing my morning run. And, after that, I would do my errands or coach soccer or whatever I had to do. And then around like noon, 1 o'clock, I'm texting my friends like, hey, like, what time are we going to drink? What time are we meeting up? And more than half the time, my friends would be like, oh, I'm still in bed. I'm just like, okay. But, when you drink, you have a lot more friends, a lot more people, or I'd say not friends, but drinking buddies. But there's a lot more people around. So there's always going to be somebody that wants to drink. So, so those hangovers were crucial. So I started getting hangovers, and they first started lasting like just for like a few hours. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I'll just pop an ibuprofen. When I wake up, I'll be good in a few hours and all is good. And then they started lasting into like the afternoon. And when they were doing this, I'm a big, like I work out all the time, like 5 to 6 times a week. Usually in the mornings, and the butt crack down a morning. And I wasn't no longer like working out like I used to on weekends. Like the morning would pass, and in my head I'm like, Bruce, now you got to go work out. But I'm like, it's the afternoon, this is like my drinking time. So like I would just not work out in the morning, and then I would just get up after my hangover, and then do what I got to do around the house, and then head to the bar and drink with friends, or head to a pool party and drink, or whatever it was. And then so that happened, and then eventually they started lasting all day. And I'm talking about like I was in the house all day, or I would be in bed all day, or I would be in bed and then wake up and then just go to the couch all day and just basically just being lazy, just wasting a day. And I hate wasting days. Like, I'm a very active person. Like, if I'm not like in the gym or playing, sports or something, I like to be outside doing something. Like, I always have to be moving. I don't really like to like sit around. So I feel like that was bogging me down a lot as well. Just having those hangovers and not, basically doing anything. Like, I feel like my day was wasted and I was not taking, advantages of, my day at all. Like, I would just waste a day. So that started to really like get to me as well. And yeah, so like then like not only would the hangovers like last all day, they eventually start lingering into the weekday. So like, I'll everybody knows me that I love Sunday Fun Day. Sunday Fun Day is the best. Sunday was always like one of my favorite days to drink. But they would start lingering into like Tuesday and Wednesday of each week. So, I have a full-time job Monday through Friday. So like I would just be dead at work. I would just be physically exhausted and mentally exhausted. And my work was just not up to like par anymore as it, usually it was. So I was just always just low energy. I was exhausted. I wasn't working out, and that's a big issue because working out and being active is what keeps me going. And I was no longer doing that. And it's funny. I used to always tell my friends in Cincinnati because they would tell me about their hangovers and just how bad they were and like how they had to be in bed all day and how their head was just thumping all day. And I had always told them, I'm like, I'm so glad I don't get hangovers because if I did, I feel like I wouldn't, want to drink. And here we are. I finally got to the point and I just I started having no desire to drink like at all, like with these hangovers I was getting. And, like at the gay bars too, the gay bars, they over pour your drinks like none other. Like if like the gay bars or bartenders are basically like bottoms up. Like one drink at a gay bar is probably like three drinks at like, a hetero bar, like a normal bar or whatever. And so like I would be having like, 3 or 4 drinks. So, do the math, I was drinking. and those hangovers were just crucial. Do not wish those hangovers on anybody. So that's that. So that's number 1 is the hangovers. Number 2, tension headaches. And I want to read what a tension headache is because I told a lot of my friends about, my tension headaches, and nobody really knew what they were, nor did I until, I was looking up my symptoms one day. But this is what the internet says. So tension headaches. Tension headaches are the most common type of headache, often described as a feeling of tightness or pressure like a band around your head. It can be caused by stress, muscle tension, poor posture, or other factors. Tension headaches are usually mild to moderate in intensity and don't typically cause nausea or visual disturbance. And they also describe it as a tight band around your head. And if you've never got a tension headache, let me tell you, it is the worst pain one can experience. And I do not wish these on anybody, on my worst enemy. They are just an unexplainable feeling if you've never had them. And this went on for like probably like 6 to 8 months. I was having these tension headaches. Like it literally just felt like a rubber band, multiple rubber bands around your head at all day. You could just like, it'd be here, like on your forehead, to your side, to the back. And you just had this pain of like tension and muscle pressure all around your head. And this literally was like 6 to 8 months every single day of having these tension headaches. It was the worst. I would maybe have like a breakthrough like 2 to 3 hours like per day. Like I would usually wake up and then they would usually come along when I would get in a shower. And then like, I would head to work and it was there like all day. Sometimes they would go away when I was at the gym. Sometimes, most of the time, they wouldn't unless I got like in a sauna or whatnot. They would only really go away like sometimes in the gym, sometimes when I was around people. But they would normally come back like when I would like leave a function. And then when I was asleep. So I'm not a big sleeper. I'm not a big napper. Like I was telling you guys before, like all I need is like 3 to 4 hours of sleep and I'm good to go. I started sleeping all the time because like that's one of the only ways I knew how to get rid of, these headaches. Like it got bad for a while for sure. And it almost felt like I was like living in a hell and like God had to like go get your arm like down to hell and like pick me up. And when he did that, like I felt like freedom for those like those like 2 to 3 hours. Like I felt like amazing. I'm like I'm finally, over this tension headache, but then, it would just come back. Um so yeah, like my workouts decreased like from like 4 to 6 times a week to like 2 to 3. And when I would get into the gym, like there was several times like I would only work out for like 20 to 30 minutes. And usually I'm working out for anywhere between like an hour to 2 hours. So like my workout time like was cut down like drastically. And then with that, like I said, like this lasted for like 6 to 8 months. Like I really saw like no progress in the gym for those 6 to 8 months. So that got me down a lot too, because, I like to, really work on my fitness, work on improving my body, and just to see like no progress at all, it just really, bummed me out for a very long time. And also like I started like trying to figure out remedies to relieve this pain. So like I started buying like fish oils. I started buying like vitamin B12 pills. I started buying brain fog pills, like just any pill like I could like find that helps with like tension headaches and muscle relaxation. And I spent a lot of money to just going through these like bottles, because like I'm surprised like I didn't overdose like on anything, because I was just taking them, just throwing them back just to help to relieve the pain. And none of them like really like worked at all. I started having, with the tension headaches, I started having like memory problems. Like I could not think clearly like at all. And it sucked because like at work I started making just like stupid mistakes like I would never make, just because like I could not think properly. Like I couldn't think at work, I couldn't think at home, I couldn't really think like just out talking to friends. Like my brain was very limited, I feel like, and it was just a very bad time in my life. And so like with all that too, like I was just like a normal millennial and just Googling like all like, my symptoms, which was like a gift and like a curse. Like there was so many things online that said I was going to have like, or have like brain cancer or a brain aneurysm. So my mind was just going like insane. Like I don't know anything about brain cancer or brain aneurysm, but I do know when I'm looking up these tension headaches, that's one something like I could have is brain cancer or brain aneurysm. And the only thing I knew about brain aneurysm is this was when I was in high school, maybe a freshman or sophomore. But my sister's high school coach had a brain aneurysm on the soccer field, and she had later passed that day. So when I saw a brain aneurysm online, that it took me back there, because I'm like, if I have a brain aneurysm, my sister's coach did not survive it. Like, what's going to happen to me, basically? And that's where my head went. Which is so sad, like looking back at it. But that's where my mind went, because that's what I was reading online. And it's like the biggest curse, like Googling like symptoms sometimes. And so yeah, so basically like brain cancer, brain aneurysm, didn't know anything about any of those. Um, I do remember the brain aneurysm. They said like it's very low percentage. Like not a lot of people get these at all. It's very, very, very rare. And so I had that on my side. But at the same time, I Googled so many different websites. So like, and all of them were saying the same thing. So I just got like very, very, very scared. So eventually I went to a neurologist because I thought something was wrong with me. Like I know like I'm only like at the time I was 34, but I'm just like this can like it could happen to anybody. It could happen to me. I always thought for the longest time like I was invincible until I start getting like these hangovers and these tension headaches. I'm like nothing can happen to me, and then here we are. But I went to a neurologist, and then the appointment was only like 5 to 10 minutes long. Like he just asked me about my symptoms, and I just told him I'm always having these tension headaches. I'm having like headaches in general. And then he just did a few tests on me. He did that thing where he hits, I can't remember what that tool is called, but like on the knee, he like rubbed my head. He didn't do any x-rays or anything like that. But at the end of it, he basically said like, why are you here? And I was like, oh, I was so relieved. I remember like calling my mom after that because my stress levels were high because I thought like I was gonna die. Like every day was like doomsday for me. And my mom just like maybe it's just stress and maybe it's alcohol, but again like I did not want to look at it like it was the alcohol. That's something I just never just crossed my mind is it could be alcohol. So like with all like that Google research and everything, it led me to the last one I'm going to talk about today is anxiety and panic attacks. And let me tell you, I have nothing but respect for people who have anxiety and panic attacks and are able to manage it. I've never had anxiety or panic attacks until, I was going through all of this. And let me tell you, you guys are soldiers. Like I have friends that have told me about, their anxiety, their panic attacks. And, I always, sympathize with them, even though I don't truly know how they're feeling inside. And now that I can look back and know how they're feeling inside, it is the absolute worst. This is another thing. Like I hate that people like have to go through these. But it was something I had to deal with for a very long time. I'm thankful that I don't really. I get anxiety still, here and there. The panic attacks are gone, but anxiety here or there, nothing, to, write home about. But it is still there. But the anxiety was every day, all day, dealing with these tension headaches and thinking, I had brain cancer or brain aneurysm. And at the time of these anxiety and panic attacks, I was also going through some other health issues as well. With my digestive system. I won't get into it much, but here in Las Vegas, I don't know why, but when you make like a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, like from my experience, and I've also heard my friends tell me this too, it takes forever to book an appointment. Like I would call like a doctor today. It's February 16th. And I might not get in until like March 16th. Like that's how bad I feel like the service is here in Vegas with, the whole health departments. But I was going through I had an infection, digestive infection. And so that was not led to my anxiety and panic attacks, but that just added on to that. And also, with those tension headaches. But basically like all these doctors had to keep referring me to new doctors. So every single appointment was like a month apart. So like just imagine like how I'm feeling. Like this doctor can't tell me what's going on. So he's going to refer me to Dr. B. I get to Dr. B a month later and he can't really tell me what's going on. So he's going to refer me to Dr. C a month later. So like there was like 3 or 4 months where this was going on and there was really no answers at all. I want to say in totality, this was probably like a 6 or 7 month ordeal because it started in January of 2023 and didn't stop until I want to say like July or October of that year. And again, mind you, this is the same year where my dad had passed away. My dog had passed away 2 months later, and a few months later after that, ties were cut. Um, but so I was dealing with all of this, and eventually I had got a colonoscopy, and all I needed was an antibiotic for 2 weeks, and everything went away. So no issues now. But that was just a very hard time in my life having to deal with all of that. And I remember one day I was at work. And again, I'm just looking up everything, all my symptoms with tension headaches, brain fog, anxiety, panic attacks, and all that. And I remember coming to something one day that basically said like you're going to die, like for real. Like I thought it was doomsday. So thank God, when I was at work, everybody else was at lunch, so I was there by myself because I did not want anybody to see it. I literally like rose up out of my seat so fast. My heart was beating so fast, the fastest it's ever beat it in my life. Not only was it beating like fast, but it was beating like hard. I almost felt like a freaking like hammer was beating on, my left, chest area. And then I just started freaking out. I started like kind of just like turning, spinning in circles. And then I eventually just ran out from where my desk is in the office to the warehouse. It's a pretty big warehouse. And I just started pacing and walking so fast because I'm thinking like the end is near for me. And it took me about like 5 to 7 minutes, but I eventually calmed down. I'm like, Bruce, remember, like brain aneurysms, very low percentage. It's not going to happen to you. But I finally calmed down, but very, very bad spot in my life for sure. And throughout these tension headaches, I was on the internet all day trying to figure out like how to relieve these, doing different exercises with like my head, my shoulders, like anything. And none of them like really helped at all. But what I came down to the conclusion is my mind basically was in a fight or flight response. And I've never heard of that before because I've never had anxiety and never had panic attacks or anything like that. So when I started looking up this fight or flight, experience, like that is what I was going through. Like my mind was constantly like trying to fight the urge to say like, hey, Bruce, you're going to die. And then once I took that flight of like, I am going to die, it was bad. Like it was a very bad spot of my life. And, looking back at it just makes me so sad. Like I had to go through it. And all these, alcohol was like the leading cause of all these issues. And, it sucks that I had to go through it, but, I'm just so proud of myself and for being so strong to get through, these several months of having all of these issues in my life. And again, I just never thought that it would be alcohol that was causing all this. And it was. And it was just time to kind of just take back my life, revert back to the person I used to be. It just really just came to a point where alcohol was controlling my life. Like I mentioned in the last episode, I feel like drinking, was fun, like just hanging out with my friends. Like it was just so much fun. I was in control, but it just got to a point where I felt like I was no longer in control. Alcohol was controlling me. And it's just like, Bruce, you got to get your life back. This is not what you were put on this earth, to do, to be. Like you're supposed to grow. And alcohol is preventing you from growing. So I had to just take a long, hard, deep look at myself and tell the truth. And the truth was that alcohol was just affecting my life, and it just was preventing me from being the best person I want to be. So yeah, so that's that. So again, hangovers, tension headaches, and anxiety and panic attacks are, three of, the six reasons I'm going to cover that led me to this clean life of sobriety from no alcohol. And as like, it's just been the greatest experience since. So I hope you guys, took something away from that. And if you guys are experiencing any of these, please, shoot me a message, and I can, hopefully help you to, cope and get through, these times like you may be having. Cause like I said, like nobody really knew like at all, like what I was going through. Like I was seeing people all the time, and like, I would never really bring up my tension headaches to them. But it was going on. So, and that's the reality of it. But if you're having any, of these symptoms with like drinking, and, you don't know who to talk to, you can definitely speak to me, in Confidant. So see you guys next week, and we are going to go over, other three things that led me to stop drinking. And I can't wait to see you guys then. So thank you, and you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys next week. What's up, Foxies? Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And be sure to follow me on social media at TheFoxHolePod. See you next time.